What is up, guys? It is Pizzamonkey FGC here for another Pizzamonkey Pizzacast. This time we'll be discussing something that I think is not really talked about or even recognized or even acknowledged that it really exists in fighting games, and that is, how do I put it? How the era of content creation has severely negatively impacted fighting games as a whole. Now, it's not entirely negative. I mean, recently, that Dino Rex tournament happened. If content creation wasn't a thing, that game would have definitely not been on anyone's radar forever. Even with content creation, bro, it's how old is that game? And someone just revived it because they were talking about how shitty it is. There is definitely that, and there's also things like the meme videos, smash montages, or just quick little edits of a match or some stuff like that, combo videos and tech stuff, just basic stuff. But I think there's also the fact that fighting games severely rely on content creation to exist in people's minds today, much more so than I think keeping games as a live service does. So, people call a game, dead if the developers aren't releasing updates or DLC for it, which is entirely a different meaning to when actual fighting game players call a game dead. That being when nobody's fucking playing it. However, I mean, the truth of it is, if people see that a game isn't popular, most of the time they aren't gonna play it. And how can you tell if a game's popular? Well, you got YouTube video views, you have Twitch streams, how many viewers are checking on that, how many current streams, a game has. If, there's even videos of that game at all. Again, how many videos have you seen of Dino Rex? Until that one guy, on Twitter was like, hey, this game blows. And to tell the truth, I feel like nowadays, that kind of stuff kills games that are definitely very healthy, to use that kind of term. That's not the kind of term I want to use. I think that kind of stuff kills games that definitely have the ability to still be played. Things that a decent amount of people still play, but just because it's not reaching 10,000 people on Twitch, or every video made about it isn't grossing over 1 million views, or Steam charts says there's only 200 people playing at the minute. And I mean, that kind of stuff, it shouldn't really matter if you think about it. The most important factor in a fighting game, believe it or not, is the fighting. And the game. There has to be a game in the fighting. But what I mean by that is, take for example, I don't know, a game like Marvel's Capcom Infinite. There are a good amount of people, still in a dedicated community for that game playing it, but it doesn't have, a big media presence. Nobody's, making extensive videos about it, or, streaming it often. And if they are, they don't reach, that many viewers. But is that to say the game is dead or shouldn't be looked at anymore? I mean, the game's still there. It still has online. It is still fun to play. It may not be the prettiest thing to look at, and it definitely was severely undermined by the pursuit of trying to include the MCU audience into buying that game, which I really don't see why there had to be a cross in that. But whatever, Capcom, you do you. Although I'm pretty sure Marvel was the one to push that, but Capcom had to make the game. And, I mean, if you really think about it, this kind of issue hasn't really been anything new. It definitely has existed before, where games that are less of a spectacle showcase for viewers often, aren't as popular or don't get played as much. A game like, I don't know, Injustice, for example, where a lot of the meta is zoning, or just NRS games in general have a lot of zoning. Nobody wants to sit there and watch two people throw, boomerangs at each other for an hour until one guy, has a concussion. Most people want to see, like anime level fights. You might not be an anime kind of guy, but, you want to see some good, back and forth, up close, some guy getting the shit beat out of him. That's cool. That's what people, watch, like pro wrestling and boxing. Nobody's sitting there watching competitive disc golf to get their barbarian brain inhibitors flowing. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, those games still get played. There are people that still play them. People still like them. The game's still there. At the end of the day, that's really it. The game's there, it's playable. Some people may find it fun, but just because some people see that other people aren't too into it, and that, videos of it don't get, a lot of views, that it's not worth their time, and therefore the game is dead. And I feel like there's kind of a jump in that. It's like, how do you go from, I don't like this game, to the game's dead? But what I'm trying to say is, I think people rely a little too much on how much mileage they can get out of a game by making videos about it, other than how much fun they're having with the actual game, or how good the game itself is. And most, fighting game fans, fighting game players, don't exactly have this problem, but, regular streamers, or, like, people who are really in it for, like, the views and stuff like that, if they're not, like, a big personality, like, if Maximilian dude, he could stream whatever game he wants, people will tune in to that. But if you're just, your average Joe Schmo, and you're trying to, gather an audience or something, and you're like, I'm gonna go play, Double Dragon, the fighting game on SNES. How many people are gonna view into that, Maybe, like, one or two guys be like, who the fuck is streaming this? And check in for, like, a minute. Maybe leave a comment or two. I definitely don't think they're going to engage with you. I mean, I don't mean to be offensive in that way, but, nobody's going to sit and watch Double Dragon on SNES. And so these people flock to games that have, higher average viewer count, and therefore they end up playing them more, which means other games kind of get left in the dust, which is where people, start to say that, oh, this game doesn't get views, so therefore, a lot of people stop playing it because it doesn't gather views, meaning it's bad. And, it's kind of just a whole spaghetti mess, I think another subset of this issue has to do with the fact that, people are kind of, obsessive with whether a game has sauce or not. Like, if you buy a fighting game and you can't pull off some super cool, sick combo shit, it's not a good or fun fighting game for some reason. Yeah, I don't get it, man. Some of these people, they're like, if I can't post a Twitter clip of me hitting, 54 hits in training mode with, some unusual stuff, then the game's not worth my time. And I really don't see that, or I really don't understand that. I mean, there's a whole different thing, man. There's definitely some people that like to sit in a lab. Like, people like me. I sit in training mode, I'll admit, way too long, more than any other mode, just because I like to lab shit out, whether it be combos, setups, mix-ups, just all that stuff. And, I'll go online, and I'll flub every single, thing I try to do, but that's besides the point. But yeah, some people really just kind of buy fighting games to sit in training mode, do combos, and post Twitter clips or videos on YouTube and being like, yo, check out this sick sauce, bro, this shit's crazy. And that's really, that's all they get out of that game. And, people will rack on games for, having no modes or anything. And then, a lot of those same people are the kinds of guys that sit in fighting game training mode, do combos, and post those combos to, Twitter, YouTube. Now, I must admit, it is kind of a double-edged sword. However, I definitely feel like the games that do have a lot of combo sauce, games like Marvel 3, Dragon Ball Fighters, King of Fighters, Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition, maybe like Oro or Urian, those kind of stuff. People see that sick shit, and they're like, yo, I want to play this. But if a game doesn't have that kind of cool stuff, does that make it any less of a valuable fighting game as a whole, But, there's a lot of older games that don't really have that kind of, super combo ability stuff. Things like, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, Garo, Samurai Showdown, even the most recent one is a big one. There's like close to no combos in that one. And, people don't post anything about it because you do 2-3 hits max, save for some certain characters. But a lot of those games still get played. I mean, all of them, except for maybe the new Sam show, have a lot of dedicated fans. Dare I say some fans that haven't even played the game. Side tangent, I think 90% of people who say they like Garo have never played Garo. They're kind of just they're like Maximilian fans who think Rock is the coolest character in all of existence. Not to rack on Maximilian, dude. Cool guy, he can have his opinions, but I think people are definitely parroting, his opinions without really having, their own experience to back it up with. But, those kind of old fighting games, you'll never see videos of them where it's like, yo, check out this sick combo, bro. That kind of stuff just, it doesn't happen in older fighters. They're a lot more tame, save for Guilty Gear, ACPR. That one's going crazy. I think that was one of the most crazier fighting games out there. That wasn't Marvel, because I think Marvel was definitely the first to be, insane in that kind of quality. Why do you think people still, upload videos of all that stuff? Because there's still combos to find. They may not be the most practical, but they may look cool, or, there's different routes that people don't know existed. That's what I'm really saying. Just because a game has been solved in, its combo variety, or, there just isn't much left to do in terms of unique combos, all that stuff doesn't matter in a fighting game. Like I said before, the most important part of a fighting game is the fighting and the game. Combos don't really have to be a part of that equation. Look at Street Fighter 2. That game has some of the least amount of combos you can do in a fighting game. Granted, they're an accident, and a lot of other fighting games are either insanely broken to the point of having infinites, or legitimately have no combos at all. But Street Fighter 2 has survived for eons, and there's no FADCs, there's no V-trigger cancels, there's no reverse beat, there's no light, medium, heavy chain combo system, there's no tag. You do maybe 2-3 moves max, the classic jump roundhouse sweep, but the game's still there, people are still playing it hyper competitively all these years later. But do you see any videos on YouTube about how crazy it is? Not really. And I feel like if there were any other game, people would push it to the wayside and say, oh, people aren't making videos of this game, it's not worth my time. And I definitely feel like that kills a lot of fighting games' chances of becoming something in the FGC. I definitely hope that doesn't happen, or that people can start to open up to the idea that not every game needs to be a combo video simulator to be worth your time. Although NRS zoning, not fun for anyone, whether you're playing or watching. As much as a zoner archetype may be fun and unique, a game's meta being a majority zoning uh, you should work around that. That should not be how your game ends up playing, in all honesty. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about. I've had this idea kind of bumbling in my head for a long time, but I'm not very consistent with making videos, especially ones where I have to film myself instead of just a quick little shitty upload to YouTube about checking out a cool combo and how cool the game is because it has cool combos. I'm guilty. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say. So, thanks for watching this. All 6 viewers mean a lot. Especially you, Meatloaf. I know you check all these out. Feel free to tell me how bad this one was. But yeah, if you ever end up watching this, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Let me know how jargled my speech is and how bad I am at saying my thoughts. I didn't do too well in public speaking class in college, if you couldn't tell. But thanks for watching, guys.